Hello, everybody. I'm Stephanie, the hands, hair, and heart of CornerstoneCreate.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel and my blog. I'm starting off with an unusual start today, but that's because today I have an unusual video. Today I'm participating in Neat and Tangled's Throwdown, the tutorial challenge. To participate in the challenge, all you have to do is do a video tutorial or either a picture step out tutorial for any card or any kind of creation that you have, be that cards, be that scrapbook layouts or something else, maybe something mixed media, shadow box, whatever it is. Do a video tutorial or either do a picture tutorial on your blog, and you can submit it to Neat and Tangled. Just use their products. The winner of this challenge will get a $100 shopping spree to Neat and Tangled, and I don't know about y'all, but that's like a really good prize to me, so here I am. So let's get into what I'll be using from Neat and Tangled today. I'm going to be using the Kitty's Favorite Things stamp set. I really like this one. I think it might be my favorite one from Neat and Tangled. I've seen a couple of other close ones, but this one looks like it's going to be my it. So now that I've explained the rules of engagement, let's go ahead and get into this tutorial. Alright, so I'm going to start off by coloring my cat with E17 on his belly. So, you know, when I was coloring this cat, I was thinking, oh yeah, look, I'm going to color him brown. And then I got to thinking, like, I don't know of any actually brown cats. Like, even the two cats that I had, one was black and white and the other one was orange and white. So, I don't know where the idea for a black and white cat came from, nor do I know why, it just popped in my head to color him brown. But hey, we're going with it. I wanted to go for a little stippling effect a little bit later, just so it would be like a patchy kind of cat. Honestly, I think I might have been thinking about a dog, but I like brown kitty cats now. Now I'm going to color the rest of his body with E10. He's going to look a little flat right now, but I'm going to add in a couple of shadows in different places. I'm going to do a couple of different texturing effects just so that he will look a little bit more in depth. Now, when you color your cat, you might want to go for a different kind of cat. Say, I don't know, a tabby, something with stripes. I had a teddy bear kitty with stripes. That'd probably be a really good look. Keep in mind that you can color your cat however you want to color your kitty. So my cat is all brown and he's going to have a little bit of spatches a little bit later on in the video. But your cat, he can be black, he can be orange, he can be all white. If it's going to be all white, throw in a little bit of gray or a little bit of a light color like blue to make him look like he's white. And you can really just take it any kind of way you want. I'm partial to brown cats today. My favorite coloring medium of the moment is alcohol markers. I do like colored pencils, I do like watercolor, and even coming from watercolor is a long way for me because I didn't used to like it at all, but now I kind of do. But yeah, with alcohol markers, that's definitely my favorite for card making. It's nice, it's simple, it puts a lot of color down and covers a large area at one time. When working with alcohol markers, you want to make sure that you remember that as they dry, you have to rework that area again. So as long as that area is wet, you're working in the same layer. But if you let that color dry and you then go back over it, you have to apply enough color to kind of re-wet that layer and rework it. But at that point, you're layering on top of it, so your colors are going to get darker, which is why right now I've colored my kitty twice and he's looking a little darker than where he was at first. I love him. He looks really cartoony to me. Like he has a really cool effect now, so I like it, and that's really all that matters. Now I'm coloring my kitty's ears with E4 as the base and going up and blending it out with R2. And before I forget about it, I am also coloring his nose with R2. I like the pink on brown. I think I could have done this with maybe a lighter red, and maybe even a reddish kind of purple. I think either one of those would have looked as appropriate as well, just giving you ideas for different color combinations. What I'm doing now is called stippling. This is a way that you can give your artwork texture. Stippling is getting a lot of attention right now, and when you see what it can do for your artwork, you know why. I'm using my colorless blender to do this technique, and what that's going to do is kind of remove some color from different areas. The more you tap, the more color that's removed. So some places I'm going to tap a couple of times, and other places might tap just once, just to get different looks. If you want to get really creative, try stippling with a couple of different colors. You'll love the effect that you get, I promise. Try some darker colors and try some lighter colors, and even try different kinds of mediums, like try white pens, gold pens, silver pens. Maybe not on your cat, but in other projects. Now that I'm done with my cat, I'm going to color his favorite things. So I'm starting off with the mouse. I'm going to color him with C7 as my dark color, N3 as my middle color, and N2 as my light color. As I'm blending his color out, I'm making sure that I blend the darker color with the next lightest color. So I'm blending my C7 out with my N3, and I'm blending my N3 out with my N2. For me, this is how you get that really nice gradient effect, and it really blurs the line between colors so that it just looks like one natural color or one color with shadows versus it looking like three total different colors. For my little goldfish, I'm going to color him with Y9, YR15, and YR4. So when you think about goldfish, maybe you don't start off, and maybe you don't think about Y9 being the perfect goldfish color, because it's definitely way too yellow. Most goldfish are going to be somewhere on the orange spectrum, even though we call them gold. But I don't have a whole lot of YR colors. So this is me making my own kind of color up. This is me depending on that transparency that I was talking about earlier to get the colors that I need. So as I'm coloring this goldfish, I'm going to color over all that yellow and just kind of have that yellow make the base color and color him with the YRs on top. So now I'm going to color my milk bottle. There's a thin line between white and color when it comes to coloring things that are white. So I know a lot of people like to use gray, but honestly, my favorite would be to use blue. I think, it's just a personal preference. I like coloring white things blue for a shadow. It works in some cases, and in other times you just really need to use gray. But for me, I'm going to do this shadow with B1 and B2. On to the card assembly. So I'm using my 2-inch punch to cut out a small circle on one side. Initially, all the little circles where my items were supposed to have been cutouts, but it didn't work out that way because I didn't have dies that would get that size. Like, I just didn't have dies that size. So I decided to take my circle maker, and I've had this thing since high school. There's a story behind that. My calculus teacher in high school had ordered all of these little circle makers, and everybody loved them in class. But you know how kids are. We see stuff, we want stuff, so we ask. So we asked them, but being an adult and already foreseeing what the problem was going to be, she thought that all of us would want them and then never use them. And she stressed to us that she wasn't ordering these just for us to have them for the year and then never do anything with them again. But she was so pressed about us actually using these things that I was just like, I'm gonna keep mine forever. So this is for you, Miss Bell. I still have it. Thank you for being an awesome teacher. You and Miss Johnson, another math teacher at my school, y'all had like the biggest effect on my life as a senior in high school. Like, everything that y'all taught me, all that math, still using it. Didn't think I was going to use it, but here I am, an engineer, still using math. All right, everybody, I got a little sidetracked. So the big circle, the big circle that's still on the page that I didn't cut out, I'm coloring with Y11, and the middle circle I'm going to be coloring with V5, and the top circle, I'm going to get into it, is going to be R17. Now you're going to see my hands start doing weird stuff because this card is supposed to be as clean and simple as it possibly can, but it can't be clean and simple with me around because some kind of way I'm always getting something on my fingers in the crafting process and smudging on my white papers. So yes, right now my pinky's just on the paper and I'm trying hard and making sure, checking, hey pinky, are we good? Is there ink on you? Let me know now before you get onto the card, because then we're going to have problems. So I'm trying my hardest. I mean, for all I know, the circle maker is on the corner of the paper, and that might have something on it all the way from high school, knowing my luck. And then for all the extra precaution that I did, making sure that nothing was on my fingers, what I didn't do was make sure that I wasn't putting down too much color or putting down my color too close to my black border, because my R17 wound up bleeding just a touch on the outside of my black border, and it was enough to be noticeable, and I noticed it, and I was just thinking, like, you know, this looks like trash now. And then with my little yellow circle, that kind of had a double outline on it as well, from me not pressing the circle maker down and making sure that it was, you know, that it was just in one spot. So it was a wash. There was no fixing it, at least not for this project. I might have been able to fix it and do something different with it, but the girl ain't got that kind of mind right now. I just wanted to finish what it is that I had started. So I did a second one, and there you saw me stamping it with my sentiment, practically perfect in every way, because the second card was practically perfect in every way, not the first one. And it was the second time around when I was struck with this divine inspiration to do something just a little bit different than what my original intent was. So my original intent was to color my card base some kind of green, like a light green, and then I was thinking, hey, let me see if I have some paper that's light green. I can put it behind there, and that can be like, you know, that'll be the color behind my kitty. So I'm looking at my paper stash, and for anyone that doesn't know, I'm currently hosting the No Stamping Required challenge. Check out my Instagram for that information. All you have to do is make a card using your pretty papers, and just use your pretty papers and see what you come up with. So I'm more familiar with my stash now because I've been making cards from my stash. So I was looking at all my papers that are on the green spectrum, and the one that I just pasted down was perfect. Like, after that, it kind of just rolled. The inspiration just kept rolling. It told me what to do and say, hey, girl, hey, do this. And I did the things. So now I'm going to assemble my card, and I wanted to assemble it so that you could see all the different colors that were going on. So you'll see 1/8 of the card base, the white card base. You'll see 1/8 of the green paper, and then you'll see the card front in front of it. It's kind of sad to cover up all the design that's underneath the card front, but it's for a greater good. And here comes everybody's favorite part, using the foam tape to get that dimension. At some point, I'm going to find some fun foam and just cut the fun foam out the way that I need it to be. But until then, I'm going to use the Dari's foam adhesive that comes on the roll and the stuff that's already pre-cut as a rectangle. You don't need to see all that process, putting down the foam tape. You struggle with foam tape yourself, so I don't need to show you that. I'm gonna fast forward through that part, and then we're gonna get right into gluing down my cuts. So I didn't have the Kitty's Favorite Thing matching die cut, so I wound up fussy cutting them out. Nothing was really too hard to cut out. The only thing is, like, on my goldfish, the small fin that's underneath him, I did wind up cutting him off just to I didn't like the way it looked after I cut him out, and he didn't look like being really, really close on that line just made it look like I didn't cut my paper right. So I just cut his bottom fin off. And because you know what gluing looks like, I'm going to fast forward through that, and I'm going to put the mouse up top, goldfish in the middle, and my bottle of milk at the bottom. So my card front isn't secured yet, and that's a good thing because it would be hard to glue things on top of that without pressing and kind of dimpling the paper a little bit once you're trying to press stuff on something that has foam tape. So it's not secured, and the next thing that I'm going to put down is the kitty. Now, I didn't want him to be all the way behind the panel. I didn't want him all the way in front of the panel. So I did a happy medium where part of him was on the top and another part was behind, just to make him kind of look like he was stepping in the page a little bit. I thought that was cute. But before he got down, I decided that he just wasn't quite card front ready yet. He still needed more detail. He still looked just too flat for me. And the N1 colorless blender, I mean, it was working good. It just wasn't amped up like I needed it to be. So I took my white Sakura jelly roll and did some more stippling on him. As I'm doing my stippling, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not staying in one area too much. I don't want to have a big concentration of white ink because the contrast of the white ink and my brown kitty is like way more than I thought that it would be. I didn't plan that out initially, and so I didn't like that 100%. and I wound up coloring over the white with my E6. And I think that wound up being everything that I needed it to be. It gave me the stippling, it gave me the contrast, but it didn't give me that stark white on dark brown contrast, and it wound up working great. No. So my 2-year-old is up, and she's up playing with her 1-year-old sister, so they're in the background. I think they're having a dispute about a toy, and my 2-year-old obviously didn't agree with the outcome, but I'm gonna let them work that out. I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to watch them work it out. They're right here. But yeah, so let's get into gluing this kitty down. His head is going to be on the outside, and one of his feet is going to be on the inside so that it looks like he's stepping out of the panel. Once I get him down to where I know he's going to be, I'm going to flip him over and I'm going to add tape to the back of him so that if someone were to press the card after it's assembled, like he doesn't dip down. After the tape goes down, I'm going to remove the backing off so that I can stick it to my card base, and that's going to pretty much be the card. Thank you for watching today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you liked everything that you see, and make sure you go visit my blog. I'm going to have all the materials that I use for this card linked over at my blog for your convenience and below this post. If you're interested in the other Neat and Tangled entries, going over to their blog, and at the very bottom you'll see where everybody else has linked their entries. Have a great day, everybody, and make sure you do something that inspires you.